I'm Mitchell Palmer. I am a junior plant science major, and I'm going to be talking about biological nitrogen fixation. So I'm going to talk about some of the modes of nitrogen fixation, some of the chemical reactions, and the factors that contribute to biological nitrogen fixation. Then I'm going to move on to nitrogen assimilation, talk about how that nitrogen that is fixated by these biological processes is then able to be um, reduced and used by the plant, and then some of the enzymes and reactions that go along with that, and then I'm going to touch on some implications that biological nitrogen fixation has for agriculture um, as far as sustainability and economics. So, biological nitrogen fixation occurs through two different relationships with bacteria known as rhizobia that are able to fix nitrogen. So there's symbiotic bacteria that are able to live within the plant roots and will fix nitrogen. And then there's free-living bacteria which live in the soil around the plant and are able to fix nitrogen near the roots. So the symbiotic bacteria that live inside the roots, they fix nitrogen for the plant in exchange for other nutrients they're unable to get themselves. And the free-living bacteria just pull in nitrogen and then are able to get their other nutrients from the soil. So nitrogen conversion, these bacteria, they convert atmospheric nitrogen into ammonium, which is then able to be taken up by the plants. This conversion of nitrogen requires a enzyme known as nitrogenase, which requires anaerobic conditions. It needs anaerobic conditions because otherwise oxygen is able to bind up some of the electron receptor sites so that the reactions are unable to take place. So for free-living bacteria, there's three types of free-living bacteria. There's aerobic, facultative, and anaerobic. And so the aerobic bacteria still need anaerobic conditions in order to fix nitrogen, but they are able to respirate enough so that they clear out the oxygen levels around them so that they're able to fix the nitrogen. Facultative bacteria are able to grow under both aerobic and anaerobic conditions, and usually they fix nitrogen only under anaerobic conditions. And then the anaerobic bacteria, they do not have any problem with oxygen because where they live there isn't any oxygen present, so they don't really deal with the effects of having to either respire to lower their oxygen levels or find anaerobic conditions. The symbiotic bacteria, they live in root hairs called nodules. They form these nodules as the root hairs grow, and they kind of engulf bacteria, and it swells up and forms a nodule. This can be done in two processes. There's infection and organogenesis. So these both occur simultaneously during root nodule formation, and during the infection process, rhizobia attached to the root hairs release nod factors that help curl the root hairs, and the rhizobia are then kind of just engulfed in these root hair cells. So this bacteria is then taken in by the plant and basically becomes a part of the plant's roots. So then nitrogen, like I said earlier, is able to be fixated by nitrogenase in this reaction, where nitrogen gas combines with hydrogen and some electrons to form ammonium. then some other reactions that are catalyzed by nitrogenase are, like I said, molecular nitrogen fixation, nitrous oxide reduction, azide reduction, acetylene reduction, hydrogen production, and then ATP hydrolytic activity. So then that ammonium that is created through the use of nitrogenase and nitrogen fixation needs to be converted into a usable form so that the plant is able to use the nitrogen that is made. So plants need to convert a lot of their ammonium into amino acids or some other usable form, or else they will suffer from ammonium toxicity. So this process uses two enzymes, glutamine synthase and glutamate synthase. So glutamine synthase is able to combine ammonium with glutamate to form glutamine in this reaction here. And then after that, glutamate synthase is able to take glutamine and and oxoglutarate to form glutamate, which these are both then used by the plant to form amino acids and sugars. And so some of the implications for agriculture. So as a Christian, from a sustainability standpoint, this allows us to use less artificial fertilizers. We're not putting on as much urea and stuff like that. We're able to use natural processes that are fixing nitrogen from the air in order to just reduce the amount of runoff we possibly have from chemical fertilizers or even like manure. And this is just probably a more ecological way for us to apply nitrogen to our plant, get nitrogen to our plants, and just keep that cropping system going. And then from an economic standpoint, if you're using plants that are able to fix their own nitrogen in a rotation with plants that can't, like corn, then you're able to just reduce the amount of fertilizer you're putting in, reducing your inputs. It's increasing your sustainability, and I think that's really important as far as sustainable practices and from a stewardship standpoint. So biological nitrogen fixation is really important in agriculture, and I think in the future it's going to become a bigger part of agriculture as there's an increased push for more sustainable practices. And that's all I have. Thank you.